It has happened. What couldn't take Saim Ayub down was a short ball. What couldn't take Saim Ayub down was a Yorker. A good length ball beating away, he would leave those away gracefully. What couldn't take Saim Ayub down was Mafaka's bowling or Rabada's in-swingers. At the end of the day, what took Saim Ayub down was Evil Eye / Nazar. Not this kind of Nazar, because this kind of Nazar you guys love. Love to hate and love to adore. But the type of Nazar that, well, we all saw what happened in that day one. 6-7 overs in, guy goes in, dives, tries to stop a boundary. And the worst thing that Pakistan fans could imagine happens before us. My name is Nazar Sayed. As mentioned before in this podcast, you are listening to Backward Point with me, as always, my brother and co-host, and the Nazar repellent, Bashar Sayed.
I'm going to push back on the fact that you were referring to a different kind of Nazar.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think the problem is you.
Me.
Nazar Sayed.
Yeah.
Since the moment that you said, have you seen the fire in Babar Azam's eyes? Babar Azam has not scored a century in international cricket. Ever since you had Usman Khwaja on the podcast, he has not scored a century in international cricket. And you have been hyping up Saim Ayub for the past few months. And freak accident.
As a Pakistani fan, I get few and far between moments of happiness. And the way that Saim Ayub made me feel for the past 3 weeks, man. I mean, you were here in front of me in the podcast. Everybody here listened to my jubilations, me yelling on the top of my lungs, just feeling things again, man. Feeling things in Pakistan cricket. Tell me when was the last time you felt something. We've been numb since that Asia Cup in 2023. It's been a long 18 months, man. And Saim comes in with the Karachi agenda, with the agenda of winning matches, with the agenda of showing the world, hey, Pakistan cricket, not so bad, pretty modern. We're pulling us into the future. And then you're going to expect me not to celebrate that? Did I say mashallah on record? Maybe not. I mean, but I'm assuming the thousands of Backward Point fans, the millions of Backward Point fans that listen to us, somebody must have said it. Guys? Anyone? And now we're here.
It's almost like when somebody leads you on, gives you these beautiful promises of love, a lifetime, marriage, and then ultimately they're like, a bunny money. This is exactly how I felt when Saim Ayub got injured.
Istikhara se nahi aaya.
My heart hurt in ways I did not know it hurt.
You know,
and actually, I'm writing a piece. It's already written. It's about to be published on Backward Point's next weekly newsletter.
Yeah.
And the piece is called Pakistan Cricket, and it's a love affair with injuries, bans before big tournaments. And to summarize, I talked about basically before the 2011 World Cup, Amir and Asif were peaking. That bowling combination was a deadly duo. And then spot fixing came, both of them got banned. And a World Cup in India where they were supposed to be playing, instead, they were behind bars, serving time for corrupting the game. And then before the 2015 ODI World Cup, Ajmal, Hafiz got banned for their illegal bowling actions. Junaid Khan, our ace left-arm pacer, got injured in his knee and his thigh, missed the World Cup. And then before the 2022 T20 World Cup, Shaheen Afridi was peaking. Just a year before, he was the ICC Cricketer of the Year, 78 wickets at an average of 22. And again, like a similar sort of a accident like Saim, where just diving in the field, knee gets stuck, injures his ligament, and some will argue that Shaheen Afridi has never been the same since. And then before the 2023 ODI World Cup, Naseem Shah, who was a revelation for Pakistan in white balls, also gets injured in his shoulder, misses that World Cup, and fast forward to present day, the Champions Trophy is 6 weeks away, and Saim Ayub is all set to be missing it.
He's in a bed somewhere in London getting something done to his leg.
The good part, at least, is that Saim Ayub is in London getting his treatment on PCB's expense. The last time that Shaheen went to London, it's quite a famous story where he went on his own expenses. He was living in a 3-star motel, getting treatment, again, out of his own pocket.
Yeah.
And when that news spread, PCB came in, put him in a 5-star hotel, paid for his expenses, reimbursed him. They've been better since. Naseem Shah got good treatment in the UK, but the way that they mismanaged Ehsanullah is in front of us. The way that players who do not have settled contracts struggle in the PCB circuit is in front of us. Hasnain went to the UK,
On his own
Pace
dime.
Academy on his own dime. Like, this should not be happening. Cricketers are our asset. Pakistan is a one sport nation. And the least we can do is value our players, because ultimately there's not a lot to be happy about in this country. And cricket is that one source of happiness, which should not be managed so weakly.
No, I agree. I mean, we've been on record about this, about the mismanagement of the players. Some of the onus does go on players with the rehab. I mean, the Ehsanullah case is pretty obvious on, maybe the mismanagement on the PCB was there, but so was the mismanagement on the side of our boy Ehsanullah as well. So right now, all we can do is wish Saim well. The PCB's statement did say it's up to 6 weeks. So we don't even know the nature of the injury, to be honest. We haven't been told a complete picture. Is it a hairline? Is it a complete break? Nobody knows. It looked ugly. And I think you and I were talking about whose fault actually is it? Is it the ground? I don't think it's the ground. Was he actually just not parallel enough when he was going for the dive? I'm not really a mechanics person, but it just felt like it was the other foot that got jammed into the ground that made his ankle sort of bend forward, which tilted his entire body weight on it. And now we're here.
The one thing I will say is that, again, I had the same stance when Shaheen got injured in 2022, is that Saim should not rush back to play Champions Trophy.
If he has to miss the Champions Trophy, miss it.
Miss it, come back for the PSL in April. But like, Saim's next 10 to 15 years is very important.
Yeah, it's crucial.
Rather than this one tournament that's coming up.
It's crucial for him to not stake everything for a white ball tournament that may not even be, this might be the last one. We don't know if the Champions Trophy is ever coming back. But it's more important that he stays and his longevity in Pakistan cricket team and the Pakistan cricket circuit is there. I think we'll find somebody to replace him. I mean, to be honest, we can never replace him. But if you can find somebody to fill in those shoes for a little bit, maybe it's an Imamul Haq coming back because it is a Pakistan Champions Trophy. So, he's quote unquote Pakistan ka sher. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But, you have Fakhr on the sideline, you have Imam, you have Abdullah Shafiq sort of in and out of form. But, it's Pakistan, dead pitches. Hopefully he does something better there. So I'm not super worried about the Champions Trophy as much. But I would have loved to see him play against India, man. Even if it's Dubai, I don't care. I would have loved to see him. If I have to sacrifice that for a future trophy that Saim leads the way in, that's okay with me. I can wait. I waited so long. I feel like the guy from Interstellar when they all come back from that Miller's Planet, I believe.
It's been 23 years.
That's gonna be my son. That's gonna be Mikhail. Unfortunately, I've led him towards this way. People still message me, man, Babar's has not scored a century since your son was born. And even before that, I would argue. But neither has my son ever seen a Babar Azam century. So we're just in that moment right now in time where it's not working for us, man. Things start looking good and they go back to as we know them. But one thing that is always constant. If you can tell me, I'll give you 10% off.
Ice Sports?
Boom.
Canada's home of cricket.
Canada's home of cricket.
That's the one thing you can't replace.
You can never.
You can't replace the home of cricket in Canada.
There is no other home of cricket in Canada. It's only Yashi Sports.
And the great part is that they got expert advice. They got high quality equipment. And once you combine those two, the Venn diagram of that is Yashi Sports. That is the embodiment of what top quality service, top quality equipment, tailored solutions for you. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner starting out or if you're a pro player, Yashi Sports has got everything you need. You know what's funny? Just the other day, I was telling you about how I love my cricket shoes that are from Asics, not sponsored by Asics. And I was just searching up on Google, Asics Gel Peak cricket shoes. And the third search, yashisports.com.
They got the SEO down as well.
I put your size in, size 11, checkout, enter coupon code BP10. I got 10% off my purchase.
$15 off. Boom, like that.
Just like that.
I love it. Did you buy them for me?
Not yet. I was just
sitting in your cart.
I was just checking if the
what
coupon
do you mean?
worked.
You got to do it for the fans. You got to buy me the shoes now.
I'm waiting for the order to be big enough where we can get free shipping.
Okay.
And so I just need a couple more items to add.
Yeah. I mean, it is like the start of the season. Well, start of the practice season, at least here in North America. Things are really cold outside, but got to get those indoor nets in. Got to get those shoes. Got to get those new pads. Some are looking to get new bats. You know where to find them. Yashi Sports.
Let's get into Pakistan's bowling.
Let's talk
Or-
about the first innings, and let's talk about, we were talking about like familiarity, right? How it just felt like deja vu. I was like watching the first day and I was like, oh, this new kid that nobody's ever heard of will probably score his biggest score ever. And lo and behold, Ryan Rickelton comes out, scores 259.
Before this match, Ryan Rickelton had 1 century and he was dropped from the team. He hasn't played in a while. And he plays this match because De Zorzi is injured and he comes in, scores a magnificent 200 plus. Just again, Pakistanis are kind people. The first match, Chris Bosh, we give him a perfect opportunity, scores runs, takes wickets. That's just who we are as a country.
I would love to see the stat where, I mean, Pakistan is like anecdotally notorious for doing this. Like they would come out and make a nothing bowler take 6 wickets and like
You know,
Weber.
who that is? Colin de Grandhomme. 2018 debut match against Pakistan. I don't think he's ever taken 5 wickets in first class. First match against Pakistan, takes 6 wickets in an innings.
There we go. And then now he has a career, or he had a career for like a good 6 years because of that.
He did.
I mean, that's what we do, right? We make sure that the other person is well taken care of. And that's what we did with Ryan Rickelton. In the first game, it was, like you said,
Chris Bosh,
who now has a PSL draft. He's in the draft, probably going to get picked up by somebody. And I mean, we single-handedly put Temba Bavuma back in form. This man could not buy runs, and now he scored a century against Pakistan. Now, we do have to talk about the wicket a little bit. Sunil Gavaskar, I mean, he's been viral in this past week many times.
Stupid.
But he was also viral recently at the last day of the SCG, and he was talking very fairly about if you know, the first day of the SCG test, 15 wickets fell, and he was like, if 15 wickets fell in anywhere in the subcontinent, he was talking about India, but I would expand that. If they fell anywhere in the subcontinent, we get demerit points. We talk about how this pitch is, you know, unfair. It's not fun to watch, yada, yada, yada. But because this is Australia and it's fast bowling, and you like Pat Cummins and you like the way he looks, it's sexy for you to take 15 wickets in a day. And I would bring the same ethos, same idea here. If in Pakistan, when Pakistan got hit for 800 runs in that abominable test match against England, we were like, this is dumb, this is horrible, we're bringing in fans and heaters and God knows what, brooms and like
Brush.
I mean, Aqib Javed's entire career got rechanged because of that one thing. Like it's completely in a different strain of its own.
Aqib ball was invented.
We had to invent a whole new term to make sense of everything. But right now, in the first inning, 615 runs get scored. And then Pakistan come out and score 478 runs, and nobody's going to talk about how dead this pitch was. Come on, guys.
What did you think of Pakistan's bowling attack? I know in the end of the first match review, I was like, we should bring back Mir Hamza. But after having Mir Hamza, Mohammad Abbas, Khurram Shahzad, Amir Jamal, it looked like Pakistan's bowling was quite one-dimensional in the sense where they lacked somebody who could bowl over 140 clicks. Abbas balls like 125, 130. Mir Hamza is just around the 130 kilometers mark. Khurram Shahzad is like 130 to 135. Amir Jamal 130 to 135. And Pakistan really missed a bowler like Naseem Shah, who the news is that Naseem had a stiff back, so he wasn't able to play.
But people saw him like practicing on the dead pitch.
It's sort of like when in the T20 World Cup, people were like, Imad Wasim has a side strain against the USA, but then he was bowling in the nets against the USA.
Maybe he was just like rolling his arm around. We don't know. We don't know how these things work. I mean, like Pakistan tried 6 bowlers, correct? Yeah, they tried 6 bowlers. I mean, I kind of feel bad for Shan here because he would have 100% tried Saim as well in this record, because Saim is pretty good. He's consistent. You know, he tried Kaman Ghulam for an over. I don't know why, but you know, you're one Saim less. You know, that hits you in the batting department and the bowling department. The bowlers, I mean, nothing was happening for them. Were they like? Mohammad Abbas kind of got found out. I don't know if that's the right term to use.
But I think the surface had a lot to do with it. Yeah. Where not a lot was happening. Like even when South Africa bowled against Pakistan, I think we played a bit too many loose shots versus them actually bowling good deliveries. But yeah, I think Pakistan's bowling was one-dimensional, not a lot of support from the pitch, and they scored at a high rate.
Yeah,
Ryan Rickelton sort of reminded me of like a Quinton de Kock kind of player, left-handed. I'm not sure if he's a keeper or not, but I think he's an up-and-coming player. 200s. This guy only scores hundreds. No 50s for him in test matches. And I'm not sure what happens next. How does Zorzi come back in? Does he go on the bench, or do they reshuffle the batting order for him?
At this point, I feel bad for De Zorzi because you have to you're going to be filling in for a man who just scored 259 against Pakistan. Like, that's just something you have to live with. I saw that. Water leakage here, guys. Sorry. But Pakistan's bowling just seemed very lean and extremely one-dimensional, like you mentioned. They felt like dispirited and unmotivated after a certain point. After they kind of had South Africa in a bundle with 72 for 3. Now it looks like, wow, these guys had them back-to-back wickets in about 10, 12 runs. 70 for 3, and then the next wicket falls at 307 for 4, Bashar.
The one thing I don't understand is you look at bowlers in different countries, right? They come in, let's say their average pace is 135. The next year or two, you see them increase their pace. Whether they do gym work, technical work, they improve their action, stability. In Pakistan, a bowler comes in on debut and he's going to bowl 140 clicks. And then the next year, he goes to 135. And then the pace is consistently in decline. Like Mir Hamza, 6 years ago, played against Australia in Abu Dhabi. He got a really nice delivery to Sean Marsh where he got him out. But his pace has been 130 since. And in 6-7 years, his pace has not gone up. Mohammad Abbas was bowling 125 clicks 4 years ago. He's bowling the same pace. So I'm not sure exactly what the process is of increasing your speed or your accuracy, doing gym work, having more protein, getting more lean. But it's just a bit disappointing sometimes when, a Pakistani bowler not bowling at 140 clicks. I mean, with Shoaib Akhtar in the background, it's kind of disrespectful at this point.
I agree. I think the first innings was very demoralizing, and I think you and I were talking to each other off the record, and we were just like, "This is going to be another of those test matches where Pakistan just kind of shits the bed, man. It's going to be a bad one. I don't think we're going to follow it." And lo and behold, Pakistan comes into bat. Shan Masood goes out for 2 for 1 in the first over, and we're like, "That's it. Pakistan is going to be booked under 200." I mean, silver lining, Babar Azam. You want to talk about that now? Like, we can talk about
Babar Azam. Let's talk about Babar Azam has changed his bat sponsor.
Yeah,
Babar Azam was with Grey Nichols, and now he is with CA Sports.
CA Sports is a local Pakistani bat retailer, bat manufacturer.
Did you know what CA stands for? Chaudhry Ashfaq.
Is that true?
Fact check me, please.
That's not Chaudhry Ashfaq?
Yes.
My guy. This is the most Pakistani thing I've ever heard. Chaudhry Ashfaq bat manufacturer.
Now, I don't know. People are oftentimes very curious, like how much money is Babar Azam charging from Grey Nichols or CA Sports? I don't know. But
I thought you were going to reveal something.
No, but I am going to reveal something to you. A friend of mine who is a bat manufacturer contacted Kamran Akmal in one of the PSL matches. This is, I think, 2017-18 PSL. And he inquired to Kamran Akmal how much will he take for putting his company's sticker on the bat. And Kamran Akmal said he's going to charge 5,000 USD to put the sticker on the bat for every match he plays that's on TV. 5,000 USD by Kamran Akmal, who is sort of way past his prime. And like if he plays 10 matches in the PSL, that's 50,000 USD just from the bat sponsorship.
Guys, I just want to announce that every time you guys watch this episode, it's 5,000 USD for you guys, so you guys can Venmo us the money whenever you guys want. What the hell?
Like this is Kamran Akmal. So I mean, I don't know if he was like, just pitching them a big number
just to get them out of the way,
or whether this is his actual rates, but this is pretty reliable.
I mean, we've heard those numbers to get some names on the podcast, and I will not name names, but we've heard those numbers being thrown around at us to just get someone for an hour. And then we see them on other podcasts, and I'm like, wow.
I can't believe you actually paid him that much.
Yeah, because you're never going to make that money back unless you get like a big ass sponsor attached. And then like maybe not even one. Maybe we need like 2 or 3 sponsors for that one episode to get that money back. I don't know.
It's people like Nader Ali who have started paying their guests that have made it harder for everybody else, because now the expectation is that if you're a Pakistani, if you're going on a podcast, you're going to charge an appearance fees.
Yeah. For the record, guys, we've never paid anyone on our podcast. Everyone who's been on the podcast has been here on their own free will and on their own accord and just, wanted to talk to us. So I don't know if I will ever pay for a guest. Maybe there's a guest there that we would open our pockets for. But our rule is they ask for money, we try our best not to negotiate or entertain that. I don't know. It just feels like weird once that transaction is played, and then I don't know. I'm not comfortable with that. What do you think?
I also feel like if I'm paying you, then I'm going to ask you stupid questions to get views.
Yeah, that's what those big
And that's not
podcasts
our
do in
brand.
Pakistan. Yeah,
I'm going to ask you about your exes, about your personal life,
You ask
your
me about my
wife.
exes?
I'm going to need spicy news.
Uh-huh.
I need that clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, sometimes it gets frustrating because there were a few guests this year that were very, very close to getting
Big name guests.
big name guests. And yeah, the appearance fees was sort of
A turn off.
something that set us
But
back.
if you come back to Babar Azam and his history with local bat manufacturers and then international bat manufacturers, so he's been with HS and he's been with Weir Nichols. And I mean, everybody on the internet agrees that HS Babar Azam was different.
We did a poll on Instagram, and 73% of you guys said that HS Babar over Gray Nichols Babar.
Now, Gray Nichols Babar wasn't all bad. There was some definite highlights in there, but the public sentiment is that it's HS Babar.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia, right? And then suddenly he comes back to a local manufacturer, Chaudhry Ashfaq, as you have told us. And this man cannot score less than 50 runs. That's crazy. His first inning score is 58 off 127 balls. He has 7 beautiful drives in that. But 4, strike rate is a bit low, but you could expect that. Babar firstly comes up to open instead of Saim. He moved himself from 4 to 3 to now number 2. That we'll discuss that as well. And then in the second innings, he comes out and scores a beautiful 81, which I think should have been at least a century, if not more. I think that was an opportunity missed. But we'll talk about his form a little bit as well. But it feels like to me that the local brand sponsors or the local bat sponsors is kind of working for Babar. I think he is son of soil type situation where he's coming in, he's repping CA, and now he's back to scoring runs. Babar Azam, by the way, in the last, I believe, 9 innings has scored 650s. That's crazy. This is a guy who was quote unquote out of form, and now he's coming back into form, peaking at the right time. We have a tri-series coming up. We have 2 tests with the West Indies coming up. And you have the big bad boy, the ICC Champions Trophy coming up. So if Babar Azam is in fact peaking, because I also put a poll out on our Instagram, or I believe our Twitter, one of those places, about is Babar in back in form or what's going on? I couldn't put a finger on it because he's scoring these big runs, but this is still not Babar Azam-esque.
But this is also like a very, very flat pitch. Like if Ryan Rickleton is scoring 259 and Bavuma, like you said, could not buy a century for a long time, gets a century. And then Shan Masood top scores for Pakistan in the second innings. Are these actually like high quality runs? Like I'm happy about Babar scored. It's very important for Pakistan that Babar Azam is the informed batsman, and visibly looks like CA Sports is helping him.
Yeah.
By the way, I also just double checked. It stands for Chirag Abdul Rashid.
That's kind of worse.
Which is worse.
Which is worse.
I don't know who said. Someone told me it's Chaudhry Ashfaq. I just double checked.
Both is not good.
Chirag Abdul Sports.
Chirag bhai, sponsor the podcast, buddy.
CA Sports.
What are you doing? Sponsor the podcast. Babar Azam, in his defense, because I will defend Babar Azam. I thoroughly appreciate the man. 50 in the last innings second innings against South Africa in a Centurion as well, where the pitch was tricky. So not
Babar
all bad
Azam
things.
Averaging 40 plus in South Africa, 550s in 10 innings in South Africa. I believe his third 50 at this ground, Newlands.
Second highest run scorer of this test series was Babar Azam, just 1 run more than Shan Masood.
What did you make of him opening? Because Saim Ayub was not available. A KG could have gone up to open. Babar could have been saved for number 3, but Babar Azam stepping up and opening. He's opened for Pakistan in the very first under-19 World Cup he played for Pakistan. Actually, he was opening with Ahmed Shahzad.
Shocker.
His performances improved once Ahmed Shahzad left the under-19 team.
And so did Pakistan's.
They say you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. And at the time, he was hanging out with Ahmed Shahzad too much.
Too much, yes. And then as soon as Ahmed Shahzad goes out of that, Babar starts scoring runs. As soon as Ahmed Shahzad goes out of the Champions Trophy, Fakhar starts scoring runs. I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum of the effect of the Shahzad on Pakistan cricket team. But I don't know, man. I'm a believer. I'm a Babar Azam believer, staunch believer. I think he's coming back. Again, there's no confidence in my voice because, again, I'm not 100%. These numbers do make me feel good, but I still think until he gets that elusive century, it's been over 2 years since he scored an international century, or maybe non-international century as well. I don't know.
It's not been over 2 years. In test matches. Correct. Yes, correct.
It's been over 2 years. I think it was 2022.
December.
It's been, December. And it's been a year and a half, almost 18 months, where he scored 156 against Nepal in Lahore. That was in the Asia Cup in 2023. I think it was April or May.
It was August.
It was August?
Yeah.
Is that late?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been around a year and a half since then as well. So we've missed an international Babar Azam century for about a year and a half. Like my son, again, has not seen a Babar Azam century in his entire life.
Was he excited when Babar was at 81?
I don't know. I mean, I hope so.
Sometimes you watch cricket with Mikal in the lounge, and we watch cricket very passionately. Every single drive will be like, shot yard, or like if it's a good ball, we're like, oh, ball hai yard. And so Mikal gets scared.
He gets scared because he starts screaming.
He does not like loud noises. Like when Saim Ayub was playing those magnificent innings in the ODI series and the T20 series, we were shouting our lungs out.
He started crying.
I
mean,
tears of joy.
We thought he was Australian based, but it just turns out he doesn't like loud noises. But no, he's waiting for that elusive century. Him and Babar both are on the same level of like, when is this gonna happen, guys? His entire life has been lived in no century for Babar. So
he's seen Shan Masood score 200s.
Man, like this is what he has to live with. Shan Masood. Am I gonna get him a Shan Masood poster now? Is that where we're at, guys? Babar, if you're watching, Talabai, what's going on?
Shani ball.
What's going on? So I'm a believer. I think Babar is on his way. He just needs that one more century to lock it in, and then 2025 is gonna be his year, man. Fingers crossed. Inshallah, mashallah, whatever. No nazar, no fire in his eyes. None of that.
No nazar,
bro. I'm ready.
What pissed me off was the way he got out the first innings, like down the leg side, flicked, caught behind. Like this is the same modes of dismissal he's been getting out since the 2023 ODI World Cup. Just like caught mid wicket or like dabbing towards third man, getting nicked off. And like I want to see Babar get out on a good ball, like Rabada balling him, outswinger, starting middle stump, seaming away, swinging in the air, snake swing, I don't know, whatever. Just get him a good ball and not down the leg side nicked.
It's been the mid wicket, down the leg side nicked. Those are two that I'm just like, I've seen enough of those. I've seen way more
behind.
Caught behind is like, okay, maybe you didn't read the line or length. That's an error of judgment. Those are just like the mid wicket and the down the leg side is just like a stupid way to get out. Like it's almost, for me, those are like equal to like just getting man-catted. Get man-catted at this point. That's how dumb they are. With this, with the level of Babar Azam, which he plays, he has over 10,000 international runs, man. For God's sake, don't snick out down the leg side. You're better than that. I think the thing that infuriated me more than the Babar Azam dismissal in the first innings was Mohammad Rizwan. Like I literally heard the entire Sunil Gavaskar monologue in my head as I saw this man run down the track, inside edge himself to bowl, and the wickets crashing, and I'm just like, what have I deserved to sit in front of the TV and witness this live?
Does he think he's Rishabh Pant?
Or who does he think he is? Rizwan, who do you think you are? But like, I'm just like, this is not the way to get out on a flat track. Like, you're at 46. He's hit 40s twice in this game. Both of those should have been over 50. One of them should at least have been a century. If you come out and you get hit for 600 plus runs, at least hold your own in the second innings. Pakistan lost the entire plot, and honestly, Bavuma did what any captain would do. He gave them a follow-on. Now, when the follow-on is instilled, Pakistan needs like over 400 runs to avoid the follow-on. And you and I are like, this is an innings defeat. Wow, you come almost inches away from winning in the first test, and now you're in the second match. You're followed on, and you need over 400 runs to even make this interesting. I was like, this is over.
I put up on the Backward Point Instagram story that if Pakistan avoids the innings defeat, it's gonna be a win.
I mean,
not really, but
not
a moral
really.
win.
Like there's a whole debate on the internet going on right now over moral victory versus actual victory. And moral victory is not a thing, guys. Just in the COVID heads that started watching cricket. Moral victory does not give you ICC test points. A moral victory does not give you points on the game. Does not give you points in a World Cup. Like Pakistan, South Africa in that 2023 World Cup game, kind of a moral victory. Pakistan got really close on a very low total. Nice. But South Africa played the semifinals. So moral victory does not exist. I don't want to hear it. I'm very staunch about this. It's a victory or not victory. Cricket is one of those games which is black and white unless you actually go for the draw. Then you can debate, oh, this is a moral victory for A or B. But if it's a clear-cut sign, it's a clear-cut sign, guys.
Ya to win hai, ya to learn hai.
Learn hai, yes.
Shani scoring a century was very important. I think we just talked about this.
Caveat.
Shan Masood is a brilliant batsman on a flat pitch against a mediocre bowling lineup.
There we go. Thank you. When England hit 800 runs. Shan also scored a century. When South Africa scored 600 runs, Shan no, nothing. I'm not trying to take anything away from Shan here. Kudos to Shan for scoring those runs. And, second innings after a follow on, you come out and score 145, a big century. I respect that. But let's be honest here. Let's be honest.
Ryan Dickleton's skill outscored you.
Like we're talking about Babar scoring 81 in the second innings, and that's not enough. So,
but
maybe a big double hundred, a daddy double hundred. I would have
that partnership between Shan and Babar still it gave Pakistan the platform to get that 478 and avoid an innings defeat.
There's always a moment when you're watching Pakistan games where there's like this defeat staring in you back in the eye, and then things happen like that Babar Azam and Shan Masood partnership where you're like, we might actually win this shit. I was in that moment when it was 205 for 0 and that wicket hadn't fallen. And there was like 15 minutes left in the day because it was the way these games are organized, Bashar. They start at 3 a.m. in Canada. Excuse me. And then they run till like 10 a.m. So Mikhail wakes up at like 6:37. So I'm up with him and I usually bring him down and I'm feeding him and the game is on in the back. I kind of missed that, honestly. It was a really good time with my son, just watching Test cricket in the background. So I watched a lot of Shan Masood and Babar Azam batting because they were just batting throughout the day. And in that moment when it's 205 for 0, you're like, guys, there's like 270 runs left. And there's like 8 batsmen to come. KG's kind of in form. So Shakil, Mohammad Rizwan, Samal Agha, Amir Jamal. Mohammad Abbas and Mir Hamza can even do a little bit. Like, this might happen. And I'm thinking about scenarios if Pakistan scores 600 and give South Africa like the last 2 sessions, they might even be able to bowl them. Like, I'm there now. This is what this team does to me. I'm thinking about how Pakistan can put like a 200 total on the board, give them like 2 sessions to bat, try to get them bowled out. Worst case scenario, they at least draw. And then Babar Azam does what he does, which he's been doing for the past 18 months. Wide bowl from Janssen. Like, come on, man. He's baited in, lured in, edited to gully. Done there. Everything was done there.
If you want to know how flat this pitch was, in this match, 1,348 runs were scored. This is the most amount of runs scored in a match in South Africa in the last 8 years.
Mm-hmm. What happened? What do you think? The pitch was quite green, so I don't know why it was so flat.
Fake grass.
Was it fake grass?
I'm not sure exactly what happened.
Because it was overcast throughout the entire day.
And the outfield was lightning quick. Anything, like if you just played proper cricketing shots in the first innings for Pakistan, like they could have scored 300-400 there too as well. Yeah. And like Babar Azam talked about this, but I think he has this concentration issue where I think in the last 2 years, like since that Nepal century, he's gotten to many 50s, but his top score is still 81. So it shows that Babar's getting starts. He's getting 50s and 40s and 60s and 70s, but he's not able to convert it into big scores.
Yeah.
And the commenters were talking about this, and I've talked about this many times, but Babar Azam has a 44 average in test matches, quite below his standards.
It was over 50 like 2 years ago.
Babar has 900s and 29 50s. That's a very, very big gap between your 100s and 50s. Yunus Khan, one of the GOATs in test matches, 34 hundreds, 32 50s. So anytime Yunus Khan gets to a 50, there's a good chance, more than 50% chance that he'll actually get to 100.
And then how many double hundreds and triple hundreds? Yeah.
Exactly. So you got to make the best of when you're in form. I spoke to Brian Lara in 2016 and I talked to him like, how do you score? How did you go on these like marathon runs of like scoring 350 or 400 or 500 in first class cricket? He has the highest score. And he said that his coach in school told him that whenever he got to a landmark like a 50 or 100, in his head, he would go back to 0 and he would restart. And that was his mantra of getting to big totals. But I think seeing Babar Azam's reaction to getting a 50, just very relieved, even in the ODIs, even in test matches. So I think he's still going through a lean patch and we are yet to see him come back into prime Babar Azam form.
Again, in defense of Babar, I saw the entire 81, almost the entire innings that they played together, Pashan and Babar, and he looked a lot more poised. He looked a lot more confident. He was dispatching the bad balls for 4. I saw a few pulls. I saw a few hooks. I saw a few square cuts as well. And then the good balls, he was giving respect, just coming forward defense, blunting it down. His 81 is off of 124 deliveries. 65 strike rate is pretty good. I have to give props to Pakistan here. There was no negative batting in this entire lineup. Pakistan scored 478 runs in 122 overs. That's almost 3.91, almost 4 and a over. They were doing really good. They were in it. They wanted to score runs on this pitch. They wanted to prove a point. And the beef I have is not with Babar Azam because they laid out a really good foundation. I think my beef is with Kamran, Saud Shakil, Mohammad Rizwan, maybe to some extent Salman Ali as well. Like those guys should have stepped up. Everybody got starts. Khurram Shahzad, for God's sake, made 18 runs. Come on, guys.
Mir Hamza hit Rabada
Down
for
the round,
6
for
down the
6.
round.
Guys, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Like KG, the way that KG got a Jaffa, okay, fair enough. The way Saud Shakil got out, the way Rizwan, like, come on. Rizwan's both dismissals in both the innings, soft dismissals. It's just annoying to see because they were so close to hitting those 50s. And then Saman Ali, I mean, he kind of didn't really have much to do at the end. That's why I give him an asterisk. He was playing with one batsman short anyways, and the tail had already started, so he had to go for it. But I'm upset with these guys. These guys one of these should have scored 100. Am I wrong for this statement?
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
one of these, maybe Rizwan, maybe KG, somebody step up, give me 100, bring this total of 478 to 578. We have a game on. Like Mir Hamza's coming down the track and hitting Rabada for 6. That means there is something going on here where it's not as hard as people are like as the scorecard shows. But I also want to take you to an alternate universe where Saim Ayub does not get injured, Bashar. Maybe one of these innings he scores a century. Maybe Pakistan is in a position where I was talking to you about before, where 2.5 sessions left to go, 200 to win, game on. Again, what ifs, this shoulda, coulda, wouldas, for sure, but the Saim Ayubness, the lack of Saim Ayubness in this game, it just hurt my soul and it hurt my viewing experience and it just left me with more questions than answers.
I think you're thinking of an ideal scenario. Like, let's say we're lowballing and on a flat pitch, Saim Ayub, the informed batsman, let's say if he scores like a 50 in each innings.
Sure.
That still gives Pakistan just 158.
Yeah.
So the game might have gone to the 5th day, but on such a pitch, in Pakistan's one-dimensional bowling attack, this was being chased down.
But you're forgetting Saim's 5 in the second innings.
Bruh. Pakistan's fight back. Some numbers on that. 478 is Pakistan's highest score in their test history while following on. The next second best score was 250 against South Africa in Durban.
What year was that?
2002. Shan Masood's 145 is now the highest individual score by a Pakistani batsman in South Africa. The second highest was Azhar Mahmood, 136, who was also in the Pakistan dressing room.
Really random Azhar Mahmood stat there. But okay, cool.
Yeah, Azhar Mahmood had a pretty decent start to his test career. I believe he scored a century on debut, and then he has a century in South Africa, 1998.
Solid. I mean, good for Azhar Mahmood there. He's had a good year this year with the coaching gig now and with the Islam United stuff. He's probably thinking about the draft though right now, like much of Pakistan is.
Yeah, draft coming up, and we'll be doing a podcast covering the draft, the retentions.
Now you said we should have done one on the retentions, and I disagree.
I think so. I think that
the retentions is at least like half the story. Like I don't know the full story yet.
We could have done a retention review plus a draft preview because we knew a lot of the star names that have signed up. The retentions tell you a good sign of where this team is going, how the core team is building up for each squad. And
but, you know, these guys are just going to say that we have an Islamabad agenda going on, so Islamabad's going to win anyway. So what's the point?
I think that's the whole point of the PSL, where you could only retain 8 players. And that gives every team an opportunity to sort of start again. And
can you
for example...
Can you rebuy players, by the way? Like if you let Ubaid Shah go, can you rebuy him in the draft?
So for example, of Lahore Qalandars, they could have let Shaheen go. And because they had the first pick, they could have picked Shaheen first. Okay. So sometimes tactically you can do that, but it all depends on your draft picks. Because what if, like, you're talking about Ubaid Shah, what if Ubaid Shah gets released in emerging and Quetta picks him up? Then Islamabad can't do much. So there's a lot of permutations and chances and scenarios you need to keep in mind. I think it's very complicated.
It is. I was sort of a little bit glazing over that. I mean, I've been listening to Rehan al-Haq's podcast, Sporting Myths. Shout out to Sporting Myths, and they're going head on into this. But again, Rehan is somewhat an insider, so he doesn't understand.
He's in his 10th year doing this for Islamabad.
Yeah, Rehan knows exactly what he's doing. So, like, yeah, listen to him, honestly. But I think we'll come out with our podcast when the draft is announced. I think we'll have a better picture of what the squads are looking like, which team is going in which direction. I just think we'll have a better picture. That's why I said no to the retentions. I know a lot of people were like, "Hey, when are you guys doing the draft on the retentions?" And I messaged everyone and I said, "We sold out to the IPL, guys. We're not talking about the." I'm just kidding. We're just waiting for the drafts, guys. We'll do it then. Well, this series is kind of done and dusted, man. 2-0. I mean, it was expected, but we got a lot closer than I thought. Any final thoughts on this series?
South Africa, Australia, both in the World Test Championship final. Lords, can't wait for it. But I do feel like just from where it stands, Australia is going to be a bit more tougher. They're the better team right now. Overall, Pakistan hasn't really gained much. Like the one thing they've gained is like, okay, Mohammed Abbas in these conditions is a good bowler. We knew that. He was 4 years out of the team. Babar Azam may have come back into form.
We have no answers.
Shan Masood was averaging under 30 before the series. Now he averages just over 30.
I mean, good for him.
A win is a win.
I mean, Shan is definitely captaining his last two test matches, right? Right, guys?
I think
hopefully. It's happening
I
here.
think he's only won 2 test matches in his whole captaincy tenure. He's been captaining for over a year, starting off with the Australia tour last year, and then losing to Bangladesh, losing the first match against England, losing 2-0 here. There's 2 more tests coming up against West Indies.
Hopefully he gets some wins in there.
Well, Akib Ball is going to come in.
Yeah.
We'll see Numan come in. We'll see Sajid come in. Brush, Heater, whatever it is.
Whatever he needs. Yeah, whatever they need. Yeah, I mean, it was still fun. I mean, the best day that I had was the end of the first day of this. End of the first test match coinciding with the MCG test match. It was just a great week for test match cricket. If you guys are a fan of test match cricket, you guys know how much we were appreciating this. South Africa and Australia and Pakistan, that first test match, really good test match. Like, loved how close it got. The MCG test as well. Loved how close that got as well. And honestly, I mean, I'm fed. I'm satiated. I'm a person that has been craving some really good test cricket, and lo and behold, it's been given to me. So I'm good.
Looking forward to the upcoming months. Champions Trophy happening in Pakistan. The first.
We still have to review the BGT final, bro. 3-1.
We'll try to get around it. But yeah, for the first time in nearly 30 years, Pakistan's hosting an SEC event. Well, partly hosting it. And then PSL 10's coming up. First time clashing with the IPL. So that gives us access to a lot of the players that were maybe previously engaged with the IPL.
We got some interesting names definitely for the draft.
For sure.
Jimmy Anderson didn't put himself in the draft, which is shocking to me. I swear somebody would have picked him up.
I would have picked him.
Somebody would have picked him up. Jimmy Anderson in the PSL would have been fire, but I guess he wasn't interested.
In the gold category, plus he would be the mentor.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Jimmy, what are you doing, buddy? Anyways. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe. If you guys listening on Spotify, don't forget to leave a comment. Check out the Patreon. Check out the Discord servers. We've revamped the Discord servers. Patreon is next. We're going to revamp it as well. Also, the newsletter. Don't forget to check that out. Sign up for that so you can get it every week on your email. And just hit subscribe. Make sure that you're tuned in to what we're having. It's going to be a big year for Backward Point. It's going to be a big. A lot of good stuff is in the motion right now. We were thinking about going to Dubai for the Pakistan India. Nothing is final yet, but it's on the cards. And if that happens, you know, the type of content that's going to come out, it's going to be crazy. So we're really excited for the next couple of months. I think it's going to be really interesting.
What did you think of the Nazar versus Bashar match aftermath? I think a lot of people were underestimating you and overestimating me.
Yeah, I have beef with that, but I feel like we should do a whole 30-minute solo pod on that. Just me in a dark room talking to people like, why do you guys think I suck?
Nazar versus Bashar match review.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I was disappointed at the lack of confidence by the general public. And I was relieved that everybody was like, hey, that cut shot was pretty Babar-esque. Somebody messaged me and was like, the first cut shot that you hit for, which was one, which people are arguing was kind of a 4. It would have gone.
I had a fielder in back.
Yeah,
by the way,
somebody said it would have gone over that, and you kind of middled it, so you should have ran for at least a 2, if not. Anyways, people also think that whole game was rigged, and I kid you not, he beat me fair and square in those last 2 deliveries. I didn't know what was going on. I think I would have ran that 5th delivery, but so I
bowled a Yorker, you blocked it, and if there was an actual ground, I would have ran for the ball. And if you ran for the run, I would have direct hit. You're out. -2.
I would have, in the last ball, if it was an actual match scenario, would have made my runner run regardless.
That last ball that I bowled to you was inspired by Hardik Pandya's last ball against Mushfiqur Rahim in the 2016 T20 World Cup group match.
That's such a
was it? No, I think it was Mahmoodullah, was it?
I don't know, but that's a very deep cut, buddy. Where are you going with
this?
I
think Mahmoodullah got caught out, and the last ball was faced by Mushfiqur Rahim. And he bowled a length ball on the 6th, 7th stump. He missed it. And then Dhoni ran him out.
Oh, I remember this now. Deep cut. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody for tuning in for this episode of Backward Point. we'll be back soon, probably covering the BGT. I know it's been a while, but we need to finish that whole arc. We'll be covering the BGT, the PSL draft.
And then we're going straight into the Champions Trophy.
Champions Trophy
Build up.
stuff. We have a lot of stuff coming up in the next few weeks. So do tune in. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers.